Recently I've been doing some beaver control work, and I wanted to do a quick video on how I use rebar drowning rods instead of traditional weighted slide wires. They're a lot lighter and a lot easier to handle.
Okay, I'm doing some control work. Once again, I'm out here in short pants and short sleeves. But I'm going to make a drowning set on this dam break that I'm doing. I'm not going to be able to check this every day, so I want to drown the beavers. And rather than carrying a bunch of heavy weights or heavy blocks, I like to use these rebar drowning rods. Now, when my dam is fairly deep, the water's fairly deep on the other side, I like to put a bend in these rods. It makes it a little easier. And you can see I've sort of got a two-fold bend in here. And this hole right here is where you stake it down at the top. And in case you're not familiar with drowning rods, all you do is shove the other end in the deep water, and you attach your trap chain right here to a one-way slide. When the beaver's caught, he dives for water and he slides down the rod. But given the angle, when he starts to pull back, he can't. So this is just a really quick and simple way to construct a drowning set, and it sure beats carrying a lot of weight. So anyway, let me get this set up. I'm going to put two of these in front of my dam break. You can see I've got a deep, narrow break. I don't know if this is going to show up on video, but that water right there is about elbow deep, a little over elbow deep, and I've got a good firm bed. So I'm going to put two TS-85s there, and hopefully we'll have some luck. Okay, here's my completed set. You can see I've got a narrow but deep break made in the dam, and hopefully you can see the two pans for the TS-85s. There's one there and one there. And hopefully you can see the drowning rod is going out that way. There's one there, and then there's one on this other side over here. Now, a couple of things. You want to make sure that your lock, your drowning lock, can slide freely on that bar, on that rod. You don't want to jam that rod so far down in the mud that the lock can't slide, so you want to test that. Another thing that I do is I make sure that my lock is pushed all the way out as far as possible. I don't want the lock up here where it can hang up. I want the lock as far down there as the trap chain will allow. But I don't want too long of a trap chain because I want that beaver at the very bottom down there. So that's how I do that. The rods are secured with the T-bar stake at the top, and they're jammed into the mud down at the bottom. So that ought to do it. Now, normally, if you watch my channel a lot, you know that I like to put 4 traps in a dam break. I like to have one up on top of the dam on each side, and then 2 down in front. However, at this location, there's dog tracks all over the top of this dam. And the landowner says that the neighbor lets his dogs run loose, and they're always over here causing problems, snarling at people and stuff like that. And the landowner's pretty sick of it and told me he didn't care if I caught them or what happened to them, if they just happened to disappear. But I try and accommodate everybody, and even though people won't take care of their pets, and you know, I try and avoid catching them. It's better to avoid problems than to deal with problems later. So that's why there's no traps on top of the dam here. We'll just see if we can take care of the job without that. If I have to go that route, I will, but that's not what I want to do right off. Also, I've got a game camera set up, and this is right here. Now, normally, if I'm long chaining the beaver, I would never put a camera this close to the set because the beaver would simply come around, knock the camera down, cause all kinds of problems. But since they're on a short chain and they're on a drowning set, there's no way that the beaver can reach the tripod up here. So I'm pretty confident about putting that tripod here. Now, we've got rain supposed to move in tonight, and so I don't know. We'll just have to see. But this is a nice little pond, and hopefully I can fix their problem for them. So we'll check it and see what we get. All right, it has been several days. We had some heavy rain, and that prevented a couple of checks because everything was underwater. I came back the next day after the water had receded, and I had a snap trap in my bed, and nothing was caught. So I reset everything, and I can see my lock on one TS-85 right there, so I know that trap is still in the bed. However, on this one over here, I can't see my lock anywhere. So I'm hoping I have something there. So I'm going to get in the water and pull this up, and we'll take a look. And also, I've had problems with my camera. It simply wouldn't activate. I don't know if I didn't have the sensitivity set right, but we'll see. So let me get in there and see if I got something.
Unfortunately, my game camera refused to activate at night, so I did not get the actual catch on film, but the camera was working during daylight, and you can see this is what it looks like when I'm pulling the rod up to retrieve my catch.
Well, patience paid off. You can see I have a nice beaver there, and he is firmly in that TS-85. It's a nice catch. I usually like them a little higher up. I usually like to catch them up above the ankle, but hey, he wasn't getting out of that. And you can see on my drowner rod, he was at the very bottom of that drowner rod. Let me see if I can zoom in here. But you can see he was at the very end there. That lock is right up against the stop. So he rode that all the way to the bottom. And you can see there's the bend that I like to place in them for deep water, right there. So that was the part of the drowner rod that was jammed in the mud. And this part up here is what was staked down at the dam break. And once they're caught, they slide all the way down into the deep water, and then the lock, the one-way lock, won't let them back up, and they're drowned. So anyway, this has taken about a week, but I believe this is the last beaver in here, and you can see the break is not repaired, and this water level is way down. It was way up on top of this dam. It's dropped a good foot to 18 inches, and so I think the landowner will be pleased with this.